Hello, everybody. Oh, hang on. Technical difficulties. I'm Julie Rodewald, the Voter Services Director for the League of Women Voters of San Luis Obispo County, and I want to welcome you to Lunch with the League. This is our fourth installment of this effort, which is brought about by our slogan for this election, which is register, learn, and vote, in an effort to encourage all of our citizens to learn about what's happening with this election, register to vote, and then actually vote on November 3rd. We want to remind you that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization, which means that we don't support or oppose political parties or candidates. Our mission is to protect the right to vote and encourage civic engagement, which is what we're doing today, encouraging you to learn about what's on your ballot in this coming election. A couple of housekeeping items. You can submit your questions in either chat or Q&A. The presentation today will take a little under 20 minutes, so we should have plenty of time for questions. Our sessions are being recorded, and you can find those either on our website, our YouTube channel, or Facebook. But before we get into today's topic of how to be an informed voter, I want to bring to your attention this postcard that everybody should have received. It went to postal customers throughout the United States, and so it was very generic information. I really applaud the Postal Service in providing this and to encourage everybody to do things early, request your vote by mail ballot early, mail your vote by mail ballot early. But I want you to know that in California, every registered voter will automatically get a vote by mail ballot. So you don't have to apply with your county elections office. It'll be mailed to you. The last day to mail those out will be October 5th, but they'll start coming in some counties earlier than that. And the other thing is that you don't have to put postage on your envelope. It will be, there will be a postage paid envelope included with your vote by mail ballot. And you don't even have to mail it. You can drop it off at any voter service center during the 4 days of voting, or at a secure ballot drop box for about 29 days before the election. So make sure that you check with your county elections office about where those drop boxes are and where your voter services center are. So now let's talk about how to be an informed voter. And I want to just tell you that this presentation, part of this presentation is what we present to our high school students when we visit their classes to encourage them to register to vote and talk about voting issues and voting rights. So if it seems kind of elementary, I apologize for that, but I think it's a good reminder for all of us. What does it mean to be an informed voter? It means that you're knowledgeable about the issues and the positions of the candidates when you're voting, and that you can make decisions without influence from outside factors that are intended to persuade. So I'm sure all of us have already seen campaign ads on television, heard them on the radio. They pop up when you're working on the internet. We're even getting mailers already. Those ads are intended to persuade you to vote for or against a candidate, or for or against a measure. And so we encourage you to keep an open and critical mind and fact check the information that comes to you in those mailers or ads that are intended to persuade you. So other ways that you can be an informed voter: you can attend local candidate forums, and leagues of women voters throughout the United States are very active in local candidate forums. We weren't sure what to expect for this election, but we already have 8 candidate forums scheduled, some for cities, school districts, special districts. And the best thing about attending a local candidate forum in this day and age is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. All of our candidate forums will be done on Zoom, some with the help of one of our local video TV operators, but some others just with our own technical people. So watch for that with your local League of Women Voters, and make sure that if you've got a city contest or a school district contest and there is a candidate forum that you participate in that. TV, newspapers, and other media resource, we just encourage you to get as balanced of a view as you can. There are other nonpartisan resources on the internet, and also have discussions with friends and family. Of course, we have to do that socially distanced or via Zoom now, but why are you voting yes or no on this proposition? Who are you voting for and why? It can help us form our own opinions or solidify our own opinions. So, but let me tell you about an important resource that's coming in that's available for you. And I do have a question that's coming in about registration, and I'll cover that after we do this presentation. So this resource is called Voters Edge California, and you find it at votersedge.org, and it's brought to you by the League of Women Voters of California. So it's sort of a shameless plug on my behalf, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, but it really is a great website that everybody can use to learn more about what's on your ballot and what you'll be voting for in November. So it's very easy. You enter your address and you click on Find My Ballot, and it will present back to you a list of all contests and candidates that are on your ballot. And just a note about the content that's on here, every candidate is invited to participate in Voters Edge. And in order to do that, they enter their profession and their top 3 priorities. They can enter a lot of additional information. So the information is coming from the candidates themselves. And one of the rules of engagement for Voters Edge is that a candidate cannot mention either by name or by reference any of their opponents. So what you're going to get is why you should vote for me as the candidate, not why you should not vote for my opponent. So I think that that's one of the really positive things about Voters Edge, is the different take on it than you might see in campaign ads. So then your ballot will be presented back to you, and you're probably thinking, what is she talking about? There's no, governor is not on our ballot in November. And that's right, this is not. This is from the November of 2018 election. And the reason that I chose to use that election is that, as I said before, the league doesn't support candidates. And by showing you how this website works, I need to select a candidate that's going to be my choice. So I didn't want to do it with current candidates so that anybody could say, oh, the league is saying that this is who we should support. So this is a past election, and my choosing of whatever candidate has nothing to do with the league or myself. So we're going to look at the Secretary of State's contest, which was again in November of 2018. And if you click on that, it'll tell you what about this office. What does the Secretary of State do? It'll also give you news and links to news about the Secretary of State and the candidates for that office. And then if you compare the candidates side by side, you can see them side by side. In this case, there's only 2, but if there were more than that, then you could scroll through their top 3 priorities on their occupation. And if you click on profile, then you can get more in depth with each candidate. So we're looking at Mark Musser as a candidate. He's giving his education. It says who supports this candidate, what organizations, what featured endorsements are there. So you can kind of delve into each candidate as you review them. And then it also says who gave money to this candidate. So after the election, this is when all the campaign finance reports was in. He had raised $310,000, and it shows you who the top 5 donors are. In addition, it'll show you where the money came from. Almost 93% of it was from inside California. Large contributions made up about 76%, smaller contributions 24%. And then most of it, over 85%, was from individuals and the rest was from organizations. So it kind of gives you a snapshot of where the candidate is receiving their money and their support. And then if you look down at the bottom, there's two My Choices, and I've clicked on Mark Muser as the choice. And then what happens is if you go to My Choices, which is at the very top of the page, it'll list everybody that you selected that you want to vote for. Also, it'll select yes or no on your candidates, on your ballot propositions, and this is just stored on your local computer. Once you complete it, you can print your choices, you can copy a link and send to your smartphone, or you can email a link of your choices. It would be a great tool if you were going to the polls to vote, because you could take that with you to help you mark your ballot. Now, of course, in this election, we're encouraging you not to go to a voter services center, but to use your vote by mail ballot. But you can start studying this information now and saving your choices. And then when your ballot comes, you'll be more prepared to mark that ballot. So let's look at ballot propositions. For this election, we do have 12 ballot propositions. Again, this is from 2018, but we're going to delve into Prop 10, which was about rent control, local governments and rent control. So it tells you what the effect of this proposition is, what people for it say, what people against it say. It'll give the pros and cons, which are typically developed by the League of Women Voters of California, an unbiased explanation with arguments for or against a measure. And then it gives you the official information about the measure, the full text, the arguments that were submitted to the Secretary of State, the kind of information that comes in your voter guide. It'll also tell you what organizations support or oppose the measure. And then again, we're going to go down and look at the money. And the money, I think, on the propositions is even more interesting because there's obviously a lot more. I went by that kind of fast. I don't know if you can see that, but at the bottom it says total contributions, 26 million was raised in on the yes on Prop 10 side, and 76 million was raised on the no on Prop 10 side. And then we can delve into that. Who's giving money to urge you to vote yes, and who's giving money to urge you to vote no? And you can go through the list. On the yes side, we had the AIDS Healthcare Foundation with 23 million donated, California teachers, California nurses, several of the California Federation of Teachers, several union affiliations donated to the yes on Prop 10. On no on Prop 10, then we had the Association of Realtors, Essex Property Trust, Equity Residential, probably those types of businesses or organizations that are property related. So you can look at this and say, do I align more closely with the values of the organizations that are promoting this or those that are asking you to oppose this measure? And you can do more research into those organizations to learn about what their values are and what they stand for. This is a great resource, and I really want to tout it. This information is public information. Every campaign needs to file campaign finance documents, and on the state level, they do that electronically with the Secretary of State. So you can find this information on the Secretary of State's website, but you do have to look through multiple reports. So it's a way to condense all that information into an easily findable one resource. And this information will change over the course of an election because there are several filing dates. So as each report gets filed, these numbers will increment, and it may even change who the top donors are. So it's a good thing to not only look at this once, but kind of continue to follow it if you're interested in where the money comes from for a proposition. It also shows you that yes on Prop 10, 98% came from inside California. No on Prop 10, only about 72% came from inside California. And then New York, Illinois, Texas had donors of varying degrees, as well as other states. So it kind of gives you a snapshot in this pie chart form of where the money's coming from. It also has news and opinions and analysis. So if you wanted to find op-eds for ballot propositions that are on the ballot in November, you can come to Voters Edge, and those will get posted as they are published by the newspapers or other resources, like there's KPBS, other resources that also get posted here. So it's a great way, kind of a clearinghouse of information about the ballot propositions. And as I said, you can start studying those now using this website. You don't have to wait until your ballot comes or your official information guides come. And then there are other resources that you can use. Certainly the Secretary of State website. The Secretary of State is responsible for overseeing elections in California. They don't actually conduct them. Those are conducted at the county level, but they oversee the elections in California. So you can go to their website, or they also have a Vote California app that you can load on your smartphone. That's, you can do everything that you can on their website. And on their website or the Vote California app, you can register to vote or check your status, sign up for Where's My Ballot. We've talked about that in past elections, and I really encourage, in past sessions, and I really encourage everybody to use that feature, sign up for Where's My Ballot, to track your ballot through this election day when it gets back to the county and is accepted for counting. You can get information on the 12 state propositions, the complete text, the impartial analysis, and the arguments that were submitted to the Secretary of State. And then you can get election results on election night, and then in the days following, you can also get those. The Secretary of State will have the election results for statewide offices, so for president from California, how California is voting on president on all the state propositions. And then they'll also have that for any multi-county contests, like our congressional districts, our state senate, and our state assembly. You would go to the Secretary of State's website to find that information, unless one of those districts is entirely within your county. For instance, in LA County, there are probably many districts where you could get the information from your local elections official. And then the local county, San Luis Obispo County elections is slowvote.com. But certainly if you're in another county, you would go to your local elections official. And here you can find candidate statements for the local candidates, measure information if you have any local measures. You can find the location and hours of the voter services centers, or if there are traditional polling places in your county, the secure ballot drop boxes, and again, election results. That would be for our cities, our school districts, special districts, that's where you would go, or how San Luis Obispo voted on the state propositions, or for president, or whatever race you're interested in. And then you also have some resource guides that will be sent to you. The state voter guide will come to you from the Secretary of State. That mailing will begin in mid-September. But again, it's a statewide mailing, so some counties will get it earlier than others, some counties later. That comes one per household. So if there's a registered voter in your household, you will get that mailing. And then the county voter guide will actually be coming with your vote by mail ballot. And that contains all the information about the local candidates. And then the easy voter guide is not actually mailed to you. It's on the League of Women Voters of California website. And that's just kind of a plain English look at the ballot propositions. And I think it becomes really important when you look at referendums, because it's often confusing. What does a yes vote mean on a referendum? What does a no vote mean on a referendum? And a referendum is petitions that get filed against a law that was passed. And if it qualifies, and it's put to a vote of the voters, should this law be continued. And it often is confusing. So if you go to the Easy Voter Guide, it'll say in very clear English what, if you vote yes, what that means, and if you vote no, what that means. So I think that that's the difference. I mean, I'm sorry, that's the difference. I was looking at next week's slide. That's the end of the presentation. I'll just put a plug in for next week, and then we'll go to the questions. Next week, we're going to be talking about, can one vote really make a difference? To help you learn the importance of one vote, how ties are broken in the election, and join me in a conversation with Shelley Higginbotham, who won a very close contest for Pismo Beach Mayor in 2014. As a reminder, you can send your questions to voterservice@lwvslo.org, and then you can follow us on Facebook or on our website. And there I've given you a couple of websites. So now I'm going to go to Q&A and answer some of the questions that have been submitted to us. So there's a question at the bottom about votersedge.org. It looks like a fantastic resource. I didn't catch whether it's only available in California or throughout the United States. So Voters Edge is only available in California, but there is a national effort called vote411.org, and that is available in other states. It is sponsored by the League of Women Voters. But California, wanting to be just a little bit different, went off in a different direction and created the Voters Edge website. So that's specific to California, but there is a resource available to other states as well. A question, is the Voters Edge website complete for this election, or are candidates continuing to add information about themselves up to the date of the election? So we would love for it to be complete. It is complete for, I think, the state offices, most of them. I don't think we have all of our, in San Luis Obispo County, our assembly candidates posting. We started in San Luis Obispo County, we started sending out invitations last week. So we have a few of our candidates that have posted, but we'll continue to remind them to keep posting. They can't post up until election day. There's a deadline, and it might be, I'm not exactly sure, but it's about the week before the election. It might be a little bit later. But since we open voting for 4 days on October 31st, it will be before we actually open the voter service centers for voting. One thing that you can do, and I'm sorry I didn't show you this, but there's a way that under a candidate, if you're comparing your candidates side by side, or when you're looking at the contest, it says this candidate is not participating, and you can click on that and actually encourage the candidate. So you would be sending an email to the candidate saying, hey, I think that this is a great resource. You should submit your information. And the more we do that with our candidates, the more likely they are to participate. I mean, the great thing for this is that it's free to the candidates. And certainly in this day with pandemic and in-person outreach to voters being highly curtailed, it's a great resource for candidates to reach out to all their voters who use this source. So keep reminding the voters, keep reminding the candidates to sign up for this information. So there was a comment about Voters Edge says for San Luis Coastal Unified School District, it says vote for one, but it should say vote for 2 of 3. I will make sure that we get that word out to the state. Kind of sets everything up, so I'll make sure that we get that fixed. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Question, will San Luis County be accepted, or is it closed for this vote period? I'm not sure exactly what that means. So maybe Kimberly Wolf submitted that question. If you could clarify what it is that you mean, that would be great. and I'll look for that. And I'm going to go up to we had our very first question that was submitted about can unhoused or homeless vote if they don't have a street address? Many are U.S. citizens and may only have a P.O. box. And yes, anybody can register to vote as long as they're a U.S. citizen and meet the other requirements. They don't have to have a street address. They just need to have a location where the county elections office can locate them. So it's either where they spend the night or they spend most of their time. It could be a homeless shelter, it could be a hotel, it could be an RV that's parked on the street. As long as they have a mailing address, they are eligible to vote. And that actually came from a case many, many years ago in Santa Barbara. There were homeless that were living under the large tree that's by the Santa Barbara train station, and people they were being told that they couldn't register to vote, and it went to court, and the court said no, they can register to vote as long as the county elections office can locate where they are, so that they know what they can vote on. So hopefully that clears that up. Where do we learn the truth about ballot harvesting? This is a truth that I know. Ballot harvesting is a way for campaigns, mostly, sometimes parties, to encourage people to vote by saying, we will take your vote by mail ballot and turn it in. What we're really stressing is don't ever turn your ballot over to somebody that you don't know and you don't trust. There are many ways to return your ballot yourself. You can do it by mail. You can do it a secure ballot drop box. You can drop it at a voter services center. We'll have a drive-by drop-off, so you don't have to get out of your car if you're concerned about your health and safety, or about limited mobility that you might have. Don't ever give it to somebody that you don't trust. And the other thing is sign up for Where's My Ballot, because then it's going to tell you that your ballot has been received and it has been accepted for counting. So both of those things are what voters should do to ensure that their ballot gets back. Let's say that you mail your ballot in and it's been a week and the Where's My Ballot is not showing that it's been returned. Then you can contact the county elections office about how you make sure that you're able to vote a ballot, whether it's getting a replacement or go to a voter services center and vote a ballot there. Just stay engaged in the process until your ballot gets to your until it gets to its destination, which is to be counted. That's the ultimate goal, is to make sure that your ballot gets counted. And now the question came back about poll workers, about San Luis Obispo is no longer accepting applications for poll workers at this time. And I wasn't aware of that. I know that they have had very many, lots and lots of poll worker applications, which is a wonderful problem for them to have. And so they're probably inundated with trying to get all those people placed. What I would encourage you to do, if you're a member of our league, we are maintaining a list of our members who are willing to serve, and then we can act as last minute replacements, because people always drop out. Either they get ill or there's a family emergency. There's always the room for people to serve kind of on a last minute basis. So if you're interested in that, you can email us at the voter service at lwvslo.org, and we'd be glad to put you on that list. And I don't see any more questions. So I think that that's it. I don't know what time it is because I can't see the clock on my computer. But again, thank you very much for joining us today. I guess I better check in the chat and make sure that there aren't any questions there. Again, join us next week for, nope, no questions there. Join us next week for, can one vote really make a difference? And I think we'll show you that, yeah, one vote can make a huge difference. So again, thank you very much for coming today, and everybody stay safe out there. The skies are cloudy with smoke here in San Luis County, and I hope it's better for wherever you are, but stay safe. Thank you.